Wednesday action in MLS Next Pro around the playoff line as Toronto FC 2 hosts NYCFC 2 from York Lions Stadium in Toronto, Ontario. Happy to have you with us for this one on MLSNextPro.com. I'm Joe Malfa. These two teams coming in different stretches of form right now. Toronto FC 2 losers of back-to-back matches. They're 2-2 in their last 4. On the flip side, NYCFC 2 have not lost a match in 90 minutes since the end of April. And as of late, they've been scorching offensively. They've scored at least 2 goals in the first half in 4 straight matches. Again, that's 2 goals in the first half in 4 straight matches. They have been terrific out of the gates, and it's helped propel them up the Eastern Conference table into 6th place. You'll notice NYCFC 2, they have some games in hand on the teams above them. A win tonight would bring them into a 3rd place tie with FC Cincinnati 2 and Chicago Fire 2. Look further down, Toronto FC 2 with 14 points. They can move into a tie with Inter Miami and Crown Legacy and be 1 point back of Columbus and Orlando with the win tonight. And a win could also bring them within 2 points of their opponent tonight in NYCFC. So it's a lot of crowding right now around that playoff line in the Eastern Conference. Look at the starting 11 for both of these sides. Toronto FC 2, they lead once again from the front with Julian Altobelli, who's been a regular for this club now going all the way back to 2021. He has just a goal and 2 assists this season, but he's in that tandem with Charlie Sharp, who has 4 starts and 4 goals in 2024. The number 61 overall pick in this past year's draft by Toronto FC. On the opposite side for NYCFC, they are led from the front by a draft pick of their own. He was taken 5 picks after his counterpart Charlie Sharp, but Taylor Calera, the 66th overall pick out of UMBC, has 5 goals and 3 assists in 10 starts this season. On the flank to his left, Ronald Arevalo has 3 goals and 3 assists in 5 starts, so plenty of firepower up top for NYCFC. As I mentioned, 4 straight games, they've scored at least 2 first-half goals. 3 of those 4 games, they've actually scored 3 first-half goals. They have been terrific out of the gates. It's something that they really pride themselves on as of late, an ability to jump on opponents. Again, it's helped propel them up into this spot in the standings where a win today could bring them into a 3rd place tie. Head coach Matt Pilkington has been proud of their resilience this year. They've had some injuries. They've had some players go up and down with the first team. And through it all, they've been able to maintain success in a way they were not able to do so last year. It'll be Toronto left to right in the red, NYCFC right to left in the white. Beautiful evening here at York Lions Stadium. Glad to have you along on MLSNextPro.com. One of 2 matches around the league tonight. Referee Nico Jaczynski checks the watch and sends us on our way. Toronto FC 2 against NYCFC 2, but we'll do it one more time. Little false start there on the kickoff from Toronto. And that one will count. Finally underway between Toronto and NYCFC. As I mentioned, 2 matches going on tonight. Simultaneously, Real Monarchs hosting Sporting Kansas City 2 in the Western Conference. This is the first meeting of 2024 between these 2 clubs. Played some interesting matches last year. NYCFC came here on the road and won 2-0, and they won 3-1 at home. And then the 3rd match of 2023 saw them play in New York once again. It was 3-3 after 90. NYCFC took it on penalties. So it was goals galore when these teams met last year. A pair of regulation wins for New York and a shootout win as well. They dominated the all-time series. Toronto FC 2's only win over NYCFC came back in 2022. 2-0 victory. And on that day, Julian Altobelli scored for Toronto FC once again in the starting 11 here tonight. Adisa Di Rosario calmly playing out of the back. In goal once again for Toronto. 10th start of the season. Near 60% save percentage. Goals against average just above 1. Son of MLS great Dwayne De Rosario. Here's Theo Rigopoulos. Really sharp. Back for Andre Dumitru. Sixth start of the season for the 17-year-old Dumitru in the attacking midfield. He's already cracked the first team lineup, Dumitru, not in MLS play. 2 appearances, a start, and an assist in the Canadian Championship for Toronto FC. This is their MO, Toronto. Possess, possess, possess. For NYCFC, it's picking the moment to get out in transition on the counter. And they have the horses to do it. Here's Aravalo. Jake Wrzański. Taylor Calera settles it down now for some NYC possession. Arroyave and Wrzański. Stevo Bednarski on that right side plays it back for Sam Owusu, 23-year-old from Ghana, the center back. Has been a regular now 3 years running for NYCFC too. 43 starts the last 2 years. This is his 7th start this year. So a milestone 50th start tonight for the center back Sam Owusu. Stefanovic. Adam Perlman. A lot of comfort on this back line for Toronto FC too. Perlman, Stefanovic not only playing together here for club, of course, but also for country at the youth national team level. 17 and U20 for Canada. Both starting center backs back in February at the men's under-20 championship qualifiers, for which Canada did qualify. Nathaniel Edwards down the left side. The rookie looking for something here. Took a deflection. Will Meyer has it. Maximo Carrizo. Chris Tiao, rookie out of Rutgers. Tiao continues his run, scoops it over the top for Aravalo, who's in the 18. Aravalo centers. Toronto able to clear. Dangerous touch there over the shoulder for Matthew Leong. Now Will Meyer, in just his 2nd start of the season, able to play out of the back for NYC. All the way back again for De Rosario. Edwards ahead for Altobelli, wearing the captain's armband. Has Sharp as an option, put it behind him. And Meyer corrals it. lot of urgency from these sides early on, more of a feeling out process. We're used to Toronto possessing when they can. New York a little less reliant on it, but not afraid of doing so, especially on a night like this, where some possession of their own is all that's going to really stymie the possession of Toronto. Otherwise, you're going to have to be okay with conceding about 70% of the ball. So even if it's not the typical MO of New York, on a night like this, you try to possess more when you can. Otherwise, you won't see much of it. Heavy touch on the back end by Di Rosario, able to clear. Owusu all the way back again from Meyer, the 26-year-old from Cleveland, drafted back in 2022 by Nashville. Never appeared for Nashville. Made 2 starts in Next Pro last year for Red Bull. And now this is his 2nd start for NYCFC. So year 3 of his pro career. And this is only start number 4 for Will Meyer. Terrific in his time collegiately at Akron. Led to being drafted in the 2nd round of 2022. Untested so far. The NYC goalkeeper. He'd prefer to keep it that way. Calera orchestrates the counter. Calera dodges one defender, still Calera. And a good step from Stefanovic. Regopoulos. Owusu caught playing with Edwards, takes it away, but a late whistle from our referee negates a 2-0 for Toronto 10 minutes in. Still looking for that first goal here at York Lions Stadium. Take another look at this one. You be the judge. Edwards, a lot of contact there. He insists it was clean. One of those where it's a gray area, and because it would have been a clear breakaway for Toronto, right, wrong, or indifferent, referees will typically err on the side of making the call. Tiao. Nifty little flick on from Aravalo, and he draws the foul. Carrizo, 16-year-old, chips it through. Maximo Carrizo still with it. Tiao. Carrizo for Tiao. Piero Elias. Now Jake Rosansky, who really sets the tempo in the midfield. 7th start of the season for Rosansky in his first year with New York. Spent the last 3 with New England Revolution too. Rosansky for Owusu. You'll see this often. Rosansky dropping down as an extra center back in possession. Allows the wingers, Bednarski on the ball right now and Tiao on the left side to get further up the field. Torrance, Ariave calling for essentially was Aravalo. And it's the first corner of the evening for New York. Swinger from Ariave. Shout for a handball there from New York. And it actually goes against New York. It certainly seemed to catch a hand. All the players wearing white thought it came off a Toronto hand. All the players wearing red thought it came off a New York player's hand. And that's how the referees saw it as well. Rosario blasts it long now for that brief heart-in-your-throat moment for Toronto. Altobelli in behind for Edwards, a great ball through. Edwards centers, offside flag comes up, denying Charlie Sharp a 5th goal on the season. Sharp was onside. It was Edwards on that initial ball through who was off. Right there, the assistant referee deemed Edwards was in behind Owusu, who seemed to know it as well. As soon as that ball was played, Owusu's left arm shot up in the air. Ariave. Still Jacob Ariave. Edwards puts the hands in the air to show he's got no fistful of jersey. Dangerous spot to have gotten called for a foul there. He wanted to ensure he didn't. And Toronto clears once again. Quarter of an hour in, still scoreless between Toronto and New York. Glad to have you along this evening on MLSNextPro.com. Now Monarchs hosting Sporting Kansas City in the only other game of the evening going on out west. Relatively quiet Wednesday night here at MLS Next Pro. Getting into the heart of the season now, at that halfway tipping point nearly. We start keeping more and more of an eye on the standings and which games have more meaning than others. Those 6-point swings that we often talk about, this is certainly one of those. NYCFC at the moment 5 points better than Toronto. Toronto sitting in 11th, New York sitting in 6th. Margins are so fine right now in the Eastern Conference. A New York win could propel them up to 3rd. A Toronto win would mean these two teams are just 2 points apart near the playoff line. That's how drastically things can shift on a night like this. Pustahegi. 3rd start of the season for Tristan Pustahegi, academy product. He's turned 18 years of age from Kitchener, Ontario. Perlman seeking long over the top for Charlie Sharp, who timed his run. He's onside. Sharp has already found the net tonight. It was offside. Steady land. Sharp. It back for Dimitru. And away from the ball, a foul called against Toronto. Right there for that little shove from Sharp. For the ball, it already found Dimitru. It's not one that Johnny Cimini, the head coach of Toronto, would be happy about. Needless away from the ball. Toronto in a promising attacking position just outside the 18. Pusteheji brings it down. Runs into some trouble. Taken by Arevalo. Calera turns. Looking for Carrizo. Good step from Perlman to win it back. Now Toronto, for the first time, looking to get out in transition. They've typically been methodical in possession. It's through for Edwards, and a great tackle put in by Owusu. Corner for the home side. Second time we've seen that ball through from Altobelli to Edwards. Set play here for Toronto. Look at the setup off the corner. Altobelli weaves in, takes a dive there. Play continues around it. Sharp was offside. Referee not buying what Altobelli was trying to sell. Arevalo. Outside for Tiao. Centered. Cleared by Perlman. Referee says play on again. This time it was New York who thought they'd earned a free kick. Arevalo. Carrizo over the top. Elias able to save it before it went over the line. Nothing would come of it from there. Standing land. Dropping into the midfield, starting this attack. Edwards won't get there before Meyer. Goalkeeper clears. Pusteheji. Rosansky harassing and called for the foul. Fans of best youth soccer teams from across the U.S. and Canada begin their quest for championships at the 2024 MLS Next Cup beginning on June 16th. Got 22 of the best matchups, including all semifinals and finals, streaming live on MLS Season Pass. MLS Next Cup, where champions are crowned and top talent shine bright. in the MLS player pathway. Leong. Samawusu for at the ball. Try from halfway for Altobelli. Ambitious to say the least. Sharp goes off of Owusu. Moments like that in the attack for New York. Get into the final third. Not much has come of it since then. A lot of pressure here on Toronto. Trying to play out of it. They're accustomed to it. Zimmermancic, Edwards, and now they go. Nathaniel Edwards. Julian Altobelli goes for a goal. Altobelli has it gobbled up by Meyer. To play here in this first half. So far, still very cagey between these two teams. Toronto with 2 shots, 1 on target. New York yet to register a shot. Expected goals, a combined .08 at the moment. Neither side have really threatened all that much. Toronto's best look denied by an offside flag. Tried the quick throw, Rigopoulos. New York had it snuffed out. Zimmermancic. Altobelli dropping in a bit deeper now. Try and find more creativity on the ball, coming off that top line where he typically sits. Here's Calera. He hasn't had a clean look yet, and you won't hear either. Offside. Again, Calera. It was close. You can't tell from this camera angle, of course. Assistant referee's going to have the best look down the line. He did pick up a yellow after the fact for kicking the ball away and delaying the restart.
Yellow card issued in the 29th minute to New York City's number 99, Taylor Calera.
Owusu, Bednarski, and Rozansky. Cycles it out wide for Arroyave. Carrizo and Tiao. Good ball ahead, finds Aravalo in some space. And Aravalo wins a corner. Half an hour in, still deadlocked at zeros. Maybe a set piece is what can open things up. Here's Edwards. He's been active in this first half. Altobelli in behind, centering. New York clears. Sharp, a great touch into space. Sharp goes for a goal, but it's right at Meyer once again. He hasn't had to move all that much for the shots that have come his way, Meyer. Each has hit him square in the chest. Rigopoulos. There's Perlman. For Zimmermancic. Toronto slowing the pace once again to a crawl. Sharp. He's been very proactive. It slipped through again for Sharp. Leading away from Owusu. Had him covered the whole time. Good bit of defending from Owusu. Corner for Toronto. Whipped in from Rigopoulos. Flipped away at the near post. New York wants to counter. Arroyave. Cavalry arriving for Arroyave. Finds Calera. Carrizo calling for it centrally. So is Elias on the spin cycle. Elias could not get the ball through. Good bit of defending there. Going to ground by Rigopoulos. Had to get it perfect in the box. Risk of conceding the penalty. Calera won't get there. I think foul call here in favor of New York. Referee wanted to see if any advantage materialized. There wasn't really one. And Altabelli picks up a yellow card. The same reason Calera did moments ago, delaying the restart. Sharp making the run. Saw the vision from Dumitru. Could not bend it around. Elias. 4 goals last season, a goal and 2 assists so far this season for Elias. Narski over the top toward Calera, just out of his reach. This is uncharted territory as of late for New York. 4 consecutive matches in which they've scored at least 2 first-half goals. 3 of those 4, they scored 3 first-half goals. And in all 4 instances, they'd already at least tallied once by now. Toronto, losers of 2 in a row, had 1 back-to-back before these 2 losses. New York have not lost in regulation in 90 minutes since April 28th. Had a couple of shootout losses mixed in, but they've taken at least a point from every match since the end of April. That includes a couple of victories in Open Cup. Owusu. Leong. 3 shots to 1 in Toronto's favor. 2 of those on target. Just the 1 shot again for New York off target. Possession right now is actually 50-50. New York has done a good job of walking that down after the early control belonged to Toronto. There's Carrizo. Bednarski. And it's Elias. Elias, well, back and through. Carrizo end line centers. That was Arroyave, excuse me. Either way, it's De Rosario with the ball in hand. Rolling it out. Finds an open Rogopoulos. Rogopoulos dribbles right into the pressure and loses it, commits the foul in the process. Edwards forced back for De Rosario. He waits to the absolute last second, De Rosario, but that's by design. For those of you at home who might be watching, wondering why. Just helps draw in the pressure, open somebody else up. Just have to make sure you get it away cleanly, that's all. Ustaheji for Perlman. Running behind from Dumitru, better ball. We've seen him open in the 18. Drop back for Elias. Trying to slip it back through for Arroyave. It's one back now. Calera looking at goal. Calera! Out of nothing, it's something for New York. Their first shot on goal is Calera's 6th goal of the season, and they lead 1-0 on the road. Just a broken down play at the edge of the 18. It finds Calera. He's flat-footed as he strikes it. Gets enough power on it. That's 6 goals and 3 assists in 11 starts for Calera. It's a little bit later than it's been over the last few games, but New York continues its theme of striking in the first half. And with 2 to play in the first 45, on their first shot on target, the visitors have a lead. Well, there will be 1 additional minute at the end of this first 45. And actually, word from down on the field after the celebration from that goal, they've upped it to 2 minutes of stoppage time. So 3 more minutes to play overall in this first half. Goals change games, and NYCFC, the side that's able to find that goal. Cut back centrally for a streaking Stanyland, and Stanyland wins a corner.
The fourth officials indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of time added to the first half.
Theo Rogopoulos will trigger it. Good ball from the corner, but a foul in the build. Toronto negates any opportunity. From Meyer, has had 2 rather easy shots to navigate. On target from Toronto. Final minute of this first half. Rogopoulos, maybe the last effort of this first half for Toronto. Pedro Elias was credited with an assist, by the way, on the goal by New York. The difference right now, and play on as Altobelli goes down, is what the referee indicates. He thought he had won a penalty, and he's going to get a yellow for simulation. And that's his 2nd of the match. So Julian Altobelli, the captain of Toronto, has been sent off. The methodology of his 2 yellow cards, delaying the restart and simulation on a dive. And on that note, the whistle blows to end half number one. What a drastic shift in this one. 43 minutes in, New York gets the goal. Altobelli goes down on this dive, deems the referee, and it's a second yellow for the Toronto captain. So we'll have 15 minutes at the break to talk things over, but when they return, they are down a goal and down a man as New York leads 1-0 at the break. Coming up, Michelle catches up with Carolina Corps head coach Roy Lassiter.
Messi! Really sweet. Ahí está el centro. Gol. Maxi Mesa para pegarle. Maxi le pegó. Huerta. André. Servicio. El tiro. It's saved by Carlos Coronel. Con autoridad el centro. A la izquierda en las afueras del área le pega. Golazo. Parte externa va a definir Chicho.
Vamos, dale pues, vamos allá, muévete más loco como solo tú lo sabes. Así es, con las manos en la cabeza, sacúdete, sacúdete, mira, sacúdete.
All right, MLS store, I need something fresh and clean. Let's see what you got. I need that in my size. It's not like this. Cream on cream? The fit is cold. Ice cream. You like that?
NYCFC leads 1-0 at the break, and the final moment before the first half whistle blew was to send a player on Toronto off, the captain Julian Altobelli. So coming into the second half, Toronto is down a goal and down a man. We'll take a look now at Carolina Corps head coach Roy Lassiter with Michelle Montaigne.
Well, guys, I don't know how I got lucky enough to be sitting down with Roy Lassiter, but here we are in High Point, North Carolina, with the head coach of Carolina Corps. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Coach, I would imagine you're pretty happy for me to be saying the words. We're here in High Point, North Carolina, after 9 straight away games to open your season. Can you try to put into perspective how challenging that actually is, playing 9 straight away?
Yeah, Michelle, it's been very, very challenging. It's, we're playing 9 away games. I don't think anybody in the country or anybody anywhere has probably played 9 straight. Now, I'm pretty sure somebody has, but it is extremely difficult, right? Not only not being able to sleep in your own bed, but having to travel and play at foreign stadiums and crowds against you, with the travel in between all of that. So So it's been very hard, but the young men have learned a lot of lessons. I've gotten to know a lot of the players a little bit better and my staff a little bit better, just being on the road. But it's been some challenging things, but I've looked forward to that.
On the note of the home opener, there is so much excitement building, not only around the league or around the team, but the entire community. How have you personally felt that, the support from everyone here?
It's been tremendous. A lot of support. First and foremost, I'm super grateful to have the opportunity to coach this team, being around the top-notch professional staff that I have, and being able just to coach the young men that I have. I'm super privileged for that, and you know, just super excited to be honest with you, to have this moment. It's a historical moment. It's a moment that the club has been looking forward to for a year now, and they've worked really, really hard to dig into the community, to dig into organizations and companies and associations, to get the awareness and get our badge out there of who we are, that we're in town, and so we're really looking forward to that game.
I've been here for a matter of a couple hours, and I've already had encounters with people out in the community about how excited they are for you guys to be here playing at home. Are there any fun stories or anecdotes from your experience around town?
You know, we see bumper stickers all over the place. There's a lot of places I go, and people are already calling me coach, and I'm seriously feel very, very privileged because of that. And I know High Point is a small town, so everybody kind of knows everybody. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But it's been really, really good. Getting to know a lot of people that are in the community, people in the universities, and they got season tickets, and we'll be at the game. I'm on the flight coming home, and there's people that are already saying, you know, we already have our tickets already. So those kind of things are really, really nice to know, and know that we're going to have that 12th man coming up this weekend. So those are all good feelings.
Coach, I know you had some experience with the club in Houston as an assistant, so MLS Next Pro overall isn't brand new to you, but this club, this organization is all new. What's your experience been like? I know we're only a third of the way through this season, but how has it been different running the independent side of things?
Well, I think first and foremost, they've been open to asking questions. You know, what works here, what doesn't work here, things that are needed from the professional staff, stuff that is needed for players. We have a lot of young people that work in the organization that are always asking questions on how should I do this, how should I do that. So I'm really thankful for that, for allowing us as professionals and the professional staff that we have to give our input to them and to help them. We don't have all the answers, but we can have them according to our experiences. So I'm really, really glad that I'm able to interject that, and that has made things a little bit smoother. So, but things are going well.
All right, now you've been around a long time, from your days as a player to now coaching. How have you seen the MLS enterprise progress from back in your playing days to now coaching the developmental side of things?
Yeah, it's much more organized. It's much more organized. The interest from the community, the public, is greater. Obviously, we're getting much well-known players. So the organization is really, really growing. Now MLS can pick and choose which cities they want to branch out into. And now just having MLS Next Pro. I can only imagine if I was 16, 17 years old playing in MLS Next Pro, probably would have been a better soccer player. It would have been a better platform for me. I could see my path a little bit better. So I'm really happy for that. To be a part of that, to have been a part of the foundation that paved that way for players now being able to have Major League Soccer, but also have MLS Next Pro that they can develop in and get to that next level.
Imagining an even better Roy Lassiter is hard to do. But Coach, thank you so much for the time.
You're quite welcome.
Vamos, dale pues, mamá ya, muévete más loco como solo tú lo sabes. Así es, con las manos en la cabeza, sacúdete, sacúdete. sacúdete, mira, sacúdete.
Messi. Avanza la pelota para que llegue. ¡Mamita querida, qué golazo! Papite, magnifique frappe. Really, really sweet. Ahí está el centro. Gol. Para Maxi Mesa para pegarle. Maxi le pegó. Fuerza. Al frente. Servicio. El tiro. Con autoridad el centro. A la izquierda en las afueras del área le pega. ¡Golazo! Amor al gol. Parte externa, va a definir Chicho.
All right, MLS store, I need something fresh and clean. Let's see what you got. I need that in my size. So I like this. Cream on cream. The fit is cold. I'm ice cream. You like that?
1-0 lead for New York after 45 minutes. That goal came late. It came 43 minutes in, and then a few minutes later, the final moment before the halftime whistle blew, the red card was brandished for Altobelli on Toronto. I'll take you back to the highlights from the first 45. Not a lot to really showcase in these first 45 minutes as far as goal-scoring opportunities. This one mainly played in the middle of the park. These two teams, heavy possession. A couple opportunities that belonged to Charlie Sharp. And they were both easy, as you could see, to save for Will Meyer. But then 43rd minute, first shot on goal of the game, second shot overall for New York. Calera past the Rosario. It's his 6th goal of the season. Sort of flat-footed, but he's still got enough on it to beat the keeper. And it's the scoreline that we have now to begin the second half. New York 1, Toronto nothing. The red card that was given for Julian Altobelli was a second yellow. Came at the other end of the field just moments after this. He picked up a yellow earlier in the first half for delaying a restart. And then his second yellow came for simulation as he dove to try and win a penalty. It's one of the more interesting red cards you'll ever see. Here's the first. He got in the way, he delayed the restart, and didn't really even kick the ball all that far. But it was enough in the eyes of Nico Jachansky to be the first yellow. And then here, he goes down. A little bit of contact. He seemed to embellish it. But a second yellow. If you're Toronto, I think you're going to feel hard done by this. He hardly did anything to deserve the first yellow. You could argue whether or not he deserved a second yellow there for simulation. But again, going back to the right, wrong, or indifferent aspect of refereeing, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, but sometimes in the spirit of the game, you look at things a little bit differently. That would have been a harsh yellow to give for the dive, period, but to then give it after he already had a first yellow and send him off, and Toronto's not going to be happy, but they have to find a way out of this now. Down 1-0 as we get set for half number 2. If there's a silver lining in this dark cloud for Toronto, that happened right before the break. So Gianni Cimini had the entirety of his halftime break to try and find a way out of this tactically now for the home side. As we take a look at the upcoming schedule here at MLS Next Pro, 4 matches coming your way tomorrow night. Overall, a relatively quiet Wednesday tonight. It's the only other game going on right now. Royal Monarchs hosting Sporting Kansas City. Last night we saw the Town beat Tacoma 2-1. But tomorrow we've got 4 games coming at you. Crown Legacy will have its first match. Departure of Coach Tavares. That news broke today from the club that he's going back home to Portugal. And Orlando City against Chattanooga. It's a couple of the teams that are jockeying for position right now in the Eastern Conference. Last year's runner-up, 2 years ago, champion Columbus Crew 2. They visit Inter Miami tomorrow night as well in a very intriguing Eastern Conference matchup. That's what we have for you here between Toronto and New York. 45 down. It's 1-0 New York. The side has not lost in regulation since the end of April, NYCFC 2. Since then, they've had a few wins, a couple of shootout losses, but no regulation losses for New York since the end of April. Toronto has lost 2 in a row in regulation, hoping to avoid a third, but in a very difficult position now, down a goal and down a man. Ready to begin the second half now. New York left to right in the white, Toronto right to left in the red. A trio of changes to get you on the Toronto side, as they're down a man and down a goal, and Johnny Chimini needs to change things drastically. And away we go in the second half. Glad to have you with us this evening on MLSNextPro.com. Joe Malfa with you for the action. Hassan Ayari replaces Tristan Pustaheji. Lucas Olguin replaces Charlie Staniland. And Jesus Batiz replaces Andre Dimitru. Your 3 changes at the break for Toronto. Leaves them with 2 remaining as they're down a man. No changes on the New York side of things. Picked up by Elias. Works it through for Calera, who has the match's lone goal. Centers it. It's settled by Elias, but for a moment. Nearly returning the favor there, as Elias assisted on the first goal. His 3rd of the season. Could have had one of his own there with a better first touch. Advantage played, led ahead by Ayari. Intercepted by Owusu, who has had a beast of a game so far. That center back for New York. Given away by Elias. Toronto wants to go again. But there's a lot of finger pointing and a ball that doesn't meet feet. Done a good job possessing through the lines, but once they get to the attacking third, towards broken down for Toronto. The best of their opportunities have been created by Julian Altobelli, but again, that's who was sent off at the end of the first half. Rosario, so comfortable with his feet. We've seen it on display today. Intercepted by Edwards. Edwards threw for Sharp, tried to roll it along cleverly for Hassan Ayari. New York the other way. And it slipped through for Aravalo, floats it over the top for Calera. A goal already for Calera, make it 2! New York leads by a pair. Calera responsible for both. That's 7 for him on the season. Perfectly executed counter. 4 passes, all it took. The final, a brilliant chip over the top by Aravalo. His 4th assist of the season for Calera's 7th goal of the season. And now New York leads by 2. They're up a man, and they can taste 3 points on the road.
New York City FC goal scored in the 50th minute by number 99, Taylor Calera.
Toronto has to have more urgency now in the attack. And this will be a goal kick. Well, it is an uphill battle to say the least. Down 2 goals, down a man. And that man, to make matters worse, is your captain and best offensive creator. Centered for Aravalo, who goes for goal, and nearly popping out of the hands of Di Rosario for a waiting Calera, who's now sitting on his hat trick. And the turn is the substitute, Ayari. Back for another substitute, and Lucas Olguin. See if Johnny Chimini has pushed the right buttons, getting these extra attacking options out there. He made those changes, though, again, when it was 1-0. Calculus has shifted a bit now. With Toronto down 2, they have to come further out of their shell. Or stray further from their possessive mentality. Be more direct, be more urgent in the attack. For Di Rosario. Di Rosario through the middle. Hold your breath a little bit when your keeper plays through the middle, but he knew what he was doing. And an open Simmermancic, and here goes Toronto. Batiz. Ayari. Now Edwards. Had to lay it back off for Simmermancic. Ayari finds Simmermancic to the end line, puts it in front, and his near post is strong Will Meyer. Knocks it out for a corner. From the corner, the way to Simmermancic. Di Rosario. He's had a lot of touches on the ball in this one. If you were to parse through the statistics, wouldn't be surprised to find that he's among the touch leaders in this game. Here's again, and he'll probably have to be more involved now. Down a man. Figure Toronto will release an extra man forward and ask more of Di Rosario as that pivot point in possession at the back. Doing so will leave him vulnerable for a chip or a try from distance. But that is a risk you're willing to take, down 2-0. And down a man. Bednarski carries. Quick give and go. Bednarski's touch heavy. Edwards corrals it for Toronto. Sharp. Mancic, give and go with Sharp, tries to get it back. Mancic with it again, took a deflection, and Meyer has it. Nice move by Ayari. Olguin. Corner, Ayari. Carrizo. Now we're gone. A half hour remains. New York leads 2-0 on a pair of goals by Taylor Calera. Glad to have had you along this evening on MLSNextPro.com. Joe Malfa with you for the action. New York can move into a tie on points for third in the Eastern Conference. As you parse through the tiebreakers, they might not actually necessarily be the third place team in the live table, but there would be 3 teams tied with 22 points each. And in the Eastern Conference, Toronto comes in sitting in 11th with 14 points. They could have drawn to within a point of the playoff line and within 2 points of this New York team with a win. It has gone the total opposite direction. Behind for Arayave. Doesn't quite get there, but wins the throw for New York. Pivot from Olguin and plays out of it. Well done to find Edwards. Brilliant bit of playing out of danger by the substitute Lucas Olguin. And leads this counter for Toronto, which ends abruptly on the ball from Batiz. Dangerous giveaway by Olguin. Playing centrally out of the back. Here comes New York to make it 3. It's saved by Di Rosario, denying Arevalo. Calero was running alongside. Remember, he's got 2 goals. Ball across. Could have been on his way to a hat trick. Calero is streaking in, open. Has his hands outstretched. Arevalo put his hands on his face afterwards, knowing it as well. And his teammate, a goal from a hat trick, would have been in alone. Oyave, end line. Probably ushered along for a goal kick. Still down off the field behind the play for New York. The play will continue out ahead now. Sharp, flag stays down, Sharp centers. Last-ditch defending by Bednarski. Otherwise, Ayari would have had to tap into an empty net. Ayari. There goes Arevalo. Into space, latches onto the pass from Elias. Arevalo, Elias. Bednarski. Toronto readying another change. It would be their 4th after that triple change they made at halftime. Daquan Barrow will come on for Theo Rigopoulos. Yellow shown. Adam Perlman who picks it up on the foul. Identical 2-0 scorelines right now on this 2-match evening in MLS Next Pro. It's Real Monarchs up 2-0 on Sporting Kansas City in the other affair. Here comes that change. Barrow on for Rigopoulos, and also a change now for NYCFC. That'll be the end of the evening for Jacob Arroyave. He's replaced by Julian Latcher. From here, New York will host Orlando a week from tonight, another midweek affair. then they're off for a couple of weeks. It's that home game a week from today against Orlando. 3 p.m. kick, actually. Pardon me, not a night game. 3 p.m. Home game for New York a week from today. Then they don't play again until July 7th on the road against Cincinnati. So a nice little break coming up for New York. By the way, Royal Monarchs just made it 3-0, so no longer identical score lines in tonight's pair of matches. Game next week against Orlando for New York comes against a team that's near them in the standings. Only 4 points separating New York and Orlando. Toronto, on the other hand, will have this coming week off. Then they will host Inter Miami 2 weeks from today. And they'll round out June at home against Philadelphia. So for Toronto, there's an Inter Miami team that's sitting in the middle of the table. And a Philadelphia team that is first right now in the Eastern Conference. Hayari. There's Barrow, goes for a goal. Substitute trying to make a difference for his team that's down 2 goals and down a man. It's out for a goal kick. Perfect tackle put in to win it by Simmermancic, who's had a very quietly strong game in the midfield for Toronto despite the 2-0 deficit. Here he is again, Simmermancic. 10 starts, 2 goals, and an assist coming into the day. 2 goals and 5 assists last season. Building upon that now for Toronto, Simmermancic, the 19-year-old from Kitchener, Ontario. Batiz curls it in. Sent long again towards Sharp. Blocked out of the air by Meyer. Just over a quarter of an hour remaining. Calera's brace has New York ahead by 2. First goal came in the first half in the 43rd minute. Second goal came 7 minutes later in the 50th, starting the second half with a bang. It's been the same scoreline for the 24 minutes that have followed. A change here, though, with a set piece coming for Toronto. They desperately need one now. Down a man, down 2 goals to try and pull one back. Ayari stands over the free kick. For a right-footed player from here, you would imagine a cross. If it was a left-footed player, different story. You think about that go for a goal. Got a lot of options in the middle, as if it will be a cross from Ayari. Ayari goes for a goal to near post, instead tries to sneak it past Meyer, who seemed to think what I was thinking, and it would be a service, cheating toward his far post. Took his first step to his right. Will Meyer, in anticipation of that cross, comes all the way back left, does enough to get it around the post. Toronto corner coming. Good alert play by Ayari to see the keeper was cheating, and well struck to nearly make him pay for it. Corner curled in, the header saved by Meyer, his best of the evening. Strong hands to keep hold of it. Fans, don't forget the best youth soccer teams from across the U.S. and Canada begin their quest for championships at the 2024 MLS Next Cup on June 16th. Again, that's the MLS Next Cup on June 16th. We'll have plenty of matchups to showcase for you on MLS Season Pass 22, to be exact, of the best matchups, including the semifinals and the finals for you on MLS Season Pass. MLS Next Cup, where champions are crowned and top talent shine bright in the MLS player pathway. Change coming now for New York. Camille Ruiz comes out there. Maximo Carrizo departs.
Substitution for New York City in the 78th minute. Leaving the game is number 29, Maximo Carrizo. He's replaced by number 83, Camille Ruiz.
Floated long up toward Barrow, and the header's over the bar. He's made a difference since coming on a dozen minutes ago. Brilliant ball played over the top by Perlman, the center back. have to give Toronto credit. After going down 2-0 and being down a man, they've managed to find a way to create opportunities, find a way to keep it interesting, though they haven't found that first tally that would really put the pressure on New York. Close now a couple of times. Here's Calera. 2 goals already, feeds this one wide for Arevalo. Arevalo puts the early ball in toward the back post. Settled right there on the back end by Tiao. Couldn't do anything with it. Barrow chips it. To play. Over the top again toward Barrow, but the offside flag comes up. Ari couldn't get through the traffic. Arevalo. Goal for Toronto. Toronto in danger of losing a 3rd in a row. Be 3 straight wins for New York. Terrific job of just finding the back of the net, NYCFC too. And that's been a pretty long run for them now of finding that offensive success. As I mentioned earlier, it's 4 consecutive matches in which they scored at least 2 goals in just the first half alone. They broke that streak today with just the 1 first half goal. But a 3-0 win last time out, all 3 goals in the first half. 3-2 the game before that, and all 3 of those goals in the first half. They lost in a shootout to New England after a 3-3 draw. Another game where they had 2 in the first half. Before that on the road, a 4-2 win against Chicago. You have to go back to May 3rd, a scoreless draw through 90 against Atlanta before a shootout loss. It's the last time that New York was kept without 2 goals or more in the same game. This is 5 consecutive matches now in which they've scored multiple goals. And this is the fewest of the bunch. Last 4 games, they've had at least 3 goals. Still have 6 more minutes and up a man to try and find a 3rd goal once again. Perhaps here. Drifting wide, it's Elias. Elias back and forth with Rosansky. Latcher. Calera gets it back, has 2 goals on the day and 7 on the season. Calera. Sharp, quiet in this second half. Sharp after a busy first. Sharp goes for goal. Remember, he found the net early in that first half, but it was a delayed offside flag for the pass into the area that originally found Nathaniel Edwards before Edwards fed Sharp, and Sharp tapped it home. So Toronto has found the back of the net in this game, but an offside flag negated it. At the time, it would have made it 1-0 Toronto, and Sharp was responsible. Referees deemed that took a deflection, so a corner coming now for the home side. Time slipping through the hourglass now. Might already be a bridge too far. On 2 goals and a man. Stranger things have happened in this funny old sport. And as soon as the ball is kicked, whistle blows for a foul in the box against Toronto.
Substitution for Toronto FC in the 88th minute. Leading the game is number 38, Charlie Sharp.
Charlie Sharp will depart.
Number 70, Matthew Catavolo.
Matthew Catavolo replaces him. Final 2 minutes of the 90. Official word yet on stoppage time. This move at the end line by Edwards. He's taken down. Barrels over, but it's a corner. corner for Toronto. Another good delivery, but Owusu rises to meet it. Tavolo lost it. Tavolo. Toronto's been knocking on the door in this second half. Can they finally kick it down in stoppage time? Heavy touch. Batiz tries to rescue it with 3 minutes of stoppage time remaining, and it's on top of the netting. One man down, 2 goals down, 3 minutes remaining. It's as easy as 1-2-3 right now for New York, on their way to 3 points. Latcher keeps it in. Has Ruiz open. Latcher still goes for goal, and it's the exclamation point for New York. 3-0. That magic number shows up yet again. Game after game after game now in this next pro season. They are producing at least 3 per match at will since the beginning of May. Did well to just keep this ball in. Julian Latcher to the sideline. Look at all that space in front of him. Thought he was going to lay it off to Ruiz. Nobody stepped to him. He says, thank you very much. And he tucks it home. It's his first of the season and just his 3rd appearance. One final sub here for New York.
New York City goal scored in the 90th minute by number 64, Julian Latcher. Substitution for New York City in the 90th minute. Leaving the game are number 42, Pierre Elias, and number 99, Taylor O'Hara. They are replaced by number 67, Adam Basso, and number 47.
On the top toward Catavolo, and it'll barrel in as an own goal against New York. So they get their 3rd. Toronto gets one right back, and that might bring us to the final whistle. It's the only blemish on the day for NYCFC 2. Last comes off of the shoulder of Steve Obednarski.
Toronto FC goal scored in the 90th minute by number 70, Matthew Catapolo.
Just waiting for the final whistle now from our referee, Niko Jachansky. And there it is. New York wins a 3rd match in a row. It's 5 straight now in which they've scored at least 3 goals. They're clicking on all cylinders, and they're in a 3-way tie in 3rd in the Eastern Conference on 22 points apiece. Big win, 3-1 on the road over Toronto. And there's no question here who your man of the match is presented by Adidas. It's Taylor Calera, a brace on the day. He leads all New York scorers with 7 on the season. First one comes 43 minutes in. It's their first shot on goal. He was sort of flat-footed, but he managed to still find a way to knock it through. The end of that first half, remember, is when Toronto would go down a man, and New York punished them for it right out of the gates. 5 minutes into the second half, Calera once again. Similar in the way they were scored, from the edge of the area to the far post beyond a diving goalkeeper, Adisa Di Rosario. And it all adds up to a 3-1 victory for NYCFC 2. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Joe Malfa. 3-1 win for New York over Toronto. Don't forget you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.